Hey mates, it's T here. Today I'm going to be going over post Nerf bat planetary interaction for the new or returning player. So, give you a little background. Um, Planetary interaction is where you're able to take raw materials, harvest them off these planets here, and you refine them to make other materials, or you create final products from them. If you'll indulge me a little bit, this might sound a little ranty, and I do apologize. So I indicated that planetary interaction had the Nerf bat put to it, and that's because about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, the old PI used to be an outstanding source of revenue for the new player or the small independent pilots in Eve. Um, it was one of my main industries that helped pad my wallet, helped me be able to afford better and bigger ships, helped me pad my wallet so that I could start doing more PvP work, and help fund my faction warfare stuff. And so, I mean, having different means of IS generation is certainly helpful to help players grow and evolve, in the game. So the old PI, as I mentioned, you take raw materials from the plants and use them to make other stuff, other materials. Well, a lot of times you'd have to, because there are different plant types and they have different resources. So frequently you would have to import or export the materials to and from different planets to arrive at your final product. And the customs offices that were in orbit around the planet, that was your conduit. So you would offload off your resources or materials, you'd offload it, launch it into space basically to the customs office, and then you'd scoop it from there with your hauler, which you see here. And so before the Nerf bat, all the customs offices in HiSec were controlled by NPCs who charged a flat 10% tax rate. So whether you're importing or exporting off of the planet, it was always the same 10%. Well, CCP changed that about a year ago. And they decided, and this is where I probably will get a little ranty, they decided that there wasn't enough conflict in the game of Eve, even in HiSec, that they wanted to turn over the customs offices that everybody who does PI relied on. They wanted to turn them over to the large corporations and alliances. So the Nerf bat comes, whacks PI over the head, and now instead of having NPC controlled customs offices with 10% tax rate, now we have player owned customs offices with whatever tax rate they want to charge. I've seen tax rates in the 30 percentiles. So when you depend on the ability to import and export materials to and from the planets, and you're getting hit at both sides with a 30% tax on PI, you can see how that would really chew into your profit margin. And the thing is, I've been playing this game for about 3 years. I've always been preference now. Okay, my game style preference has always been solo or small game. Okay, I have a very small corporation, very intimate group, and I got to tell you, this was like a big middle finger to me and other players like me, because they basically CCP in their quest for never-ending conflict anywhere in the game, turned over the custom stations over these large corporations and alliances, they must have known full well that small independents like myself wouldn't ever have the manpower or ships to be able to war deck the corp that owned it, let alone put up my own, let alone be able to defend my own customs office. So, I mean, in from my own experience, in my opinion, this has been pretty typical. It seems of CCP in the last couple years or 3 years, um, where they just completely thumb their noses at us long-term, long-standing independents, people who prefer high sec some of the time, because I don't have to in high sec. You don't have. There's no truly safe space in Eve if you undock. We know that. But at least in high sec, you don't necessarily have to be looking behind your back all the time, running for your life all the time. It's supposed to be high sec is supposed to be high security, supposed to be relatively safe place to play the game without losing your ass. This constant war drum that CCP is beating in their own game, beating us over the head with, to me, the premise is kind of silly because they already have wormhole space, they have null sec space, and they have low sec space for conflict. High sec is only 25% of the different types of spaces in the game. It's only 25%. So they have these vast amounts of open space just primed for conflict. And yet, that's not enough. CCP and maybe some of the older players, they feel like they have to have high sec as well. And so this, to me, the nerf bet they took to planetary interaction is just one example or manifestation of this, in my opinion. I think it's been horrible for the game. I think it has driven away people from this game, because not everybody enjoys conflict all the time. New players get frustrated because there's already plenty of mechanics in ISAC anyway for conflict. Suicide ganking comes to mind. So it's just, the nerf bet to PI was kind of like the bridge too far as I'm concerned. I think it was a horrible, horrible decision by CCP. I wish they would undo it, frankly. It was unnecessary. I imagine that their little, whatever they call themselves, the little board or the CSMs or whatever the heck they're called, the representatives on their little space board. But, who gets to sit on the board but, players from the big corporations who all, benefited from this change. But, in my opinion, the game isn't just about them. I mean, there's a lot of people who like to play solo or play in small gangs, prefer small corporations like this. So that's it. Rant over. That's the change that we got. So that being said, I walked away from PI for a couple months and came back to it later on, looked at it again, and I figured out some things that I could do to still profit from it. Well, that's until CCP nerf bats us again some way, which I'm sure they will. But for the time being, there is a way to still profit from planetary interaction. So before I get going too far, I'm going to walk through it, the process of PI in case you've never seen it before. I'm going to open my notepad here. I am Ragnar, D the Ninth. we were talking about planetary interaction skills, and these are the 4 main skills that you need. The top 2 are really important. The top one's really, really important because it gives you the power grid and CPU that you need for your other structures. Okay, and down at the bottom you see this web resource. That is a huge resource if you're interested in doing PI, and I might give you a glimpse of that real quick before we get into the mechanics too much, but I did want to give you a chance, if you're taking notes, to see this. Okay, and there it goes. So if I go over here, let's see, open up my browser. This is that planetary interaction website. Okay, I scrolled down already, but this is what you'll see. You see there's different planets here, different planet types, and as I mentioned, the different planet types have different raw materials on them. Okay, so, and here are some materials, raw materials. So if you look at storm, okay, you hover over the storm, you see it's got aqueous liquids, base metals, suspended plasma, ionic solutions, and noble gas. Okay, we are going to use Storm Planet for this demonstration. One of the keys to the post NERF BAT PI, one of the main important keys is that now, unless you want to pay POCO taxes, now you have to come up with a final product that you can make where you can start and finish that product on the same planet. In other words, you circumvent the POCO entirely by not importing or exporting any raw materials or any refined materials. Okay, so you want a final product that you can make, you can start to finish on a single planet. Storm Planet is one such planet. I'll go ahead and close this. The final product that we are going to make is coolant. Maybe I'll put that up here. I'll just type it for you. Coolant. Okay, so that's what we're going to make. Now, coolant requires a couple of the refined materials, and I'm going to show you those when we get into the mechanics, which I'm going to do now. So I'm already here at the Storm Planet. You can go, if you right click into empty space anywhere, go down to planets. We're already at Aconivis 8, but I just want to show you all of these. If you go to the show info, click that. In the description, it'll tell you what type of planet that is right there. Okay, Storm Worlds. Now, to be able to harvest materials from Storm Planet, which is the one that we're in orbit over, you have to have a command center. You got to have it in your cargo hold. If I click inventory, you'll see it. And if you've seen my other tutorials, you know why I have exotic dancers in my cargo. So here are the Storm command centers. That's the first thing that you have to put in. So I'm going to go, I'm going to click the planet. I have to scroll over. Click the planet icon right there. And this button right here will put you in the planet mode. So I have played with the idea of putting my items at the pole, like the North Pole up here, so that it's equidistant, because all the resources, the raw materials, they shift as the planet orbits or whatever, right? So your resources will shift over time. And so in my mind, I'm thinking makes sense to put them, all your facilities, at some point that's equidistant to the planet. So I don't know. You could do it that way or not. I'm not going to do it on this just for simplicity. Okay. Um, so to start off with, you need a command center, which you see right here. You got to click the Build tab. Click Command Centers. You have to have it in your cargo hold, and you have to be at the planet. Okay. So I'm going to click Storm Command Center, and you can't hardly see it. There. You can see a little bit better there. There's the little marker for it, and just click it where you want to put it, and there it is. And this is very important. You have to click Submit after any changes you make, or it will not save your change. Now that we have our command center, we have to upgrade it so it has enough CPU and power grid. So you click this button here to upgrade, and you want to take it at least level 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And that's where that first skill comes in handy, is that you'll be able to upgrade it all that way. Okay. Click upgrade and submit. You always have to hit submit, and you'll get a little audio cue that it was submitted. You'll hear a little bloop bloop. So now we have our command center. We can build other structures. And the first structure we're going to put in is a spaceport launch pad, Storm launch pad. I'm going to put that directly below. And, I've done this enough now where I kind of have my own design or layout. And it does matter. I need to put a pipeline also in. All the structures have to be connected with a link. I prefer to call it a pipeline because that's really what it is. Okay, and click that. And now I got a pipeline, but I have to hit submit. Okay, now these two are connected. Okay, so you can move materials back and forth between them. And so the next thing is going to be storage. And I'll put it down right about here. Click it, left click it, and then I got to put another pipeline in to connect it, or link. And submit, always you got to hit submit. Okay, so that's the 3 basic important structures. Okay, the reason why we're still using Launchpad, if we were using the POCOs, the Launchpad is where you would send stuff to launch it to the customs office, but we're not using it for that purpose. Basically, we're using Launchpad as a storage device. Okay, once you have this running for quite a while, your raw materials will fill up your storage pretty quick. So it makes a really good storage facility. That's mainly why I use it. So now we got to put these processors on. We have 2 types. You have the basic and advanced. I'm going to put a couple basic ones on the left side. Put one here. And I'm going to put a second one below it. And that's because just for productivity, so you can put out twice as much. Because you're going to harvest raw materials, but the raw materials, is quite a bit of it. And then when you refine it, gobble up the raw materials pretty quick. And now, just like before, I got a link. All these have to be linked. And create new. Link it. Okay, so there's my basic. Now I'm going to put in a couple advanced. Now, just so you know, these links or these pipelines that I put in, it does matter how far you put them away from each other, because the length of the links chew up, I think, CPU or something. But I'm just showing, this is just for demonstration, so I just want to try to keep it simple. Okay, so I have 2 basic facilities and 2 advanced. Okay. So the basic facilities, that's where you can take the raw material that we harvest and you're going to turn it into a usable material. The advanced is where you can take your usable material and create your final product. Okay, so that's your basic layout right there. Okay, we got our command center, got a launch pad, and storage facility. Those three is where we're going to keep and hold all of our stuff. We have the basics over here, where we take the raw materials that we harvest, make it into usable materials, and then over here on the advanced side, we will take the usable materials and turn them into final product. So if we come over to basic, so our final product, as I mentioned, is coolant. Okay, let me click this one first because I have OCD. So here, when you click that, you get this little window open up. We got to tell this facility what it's going to be making. So click schematic. And right here you see it says electrolytes. And that's what we need this one to make. So you click electrolytes, you click install. Now you get this new window. It says not routed. You have to route everything, and this is very important. If you don't route your materials and or final product, it will disappear. you will not have anything to show for your industry. And then again, remember always you have to submit. So electrolytes is one. If I click this again, so we're making electrolytes. It says right here, producing electrolytes. If we hover the cursor down here, we see that the input is ionic solutions. Okay, so ionic solutions is one of the raw materials that we need to harvest. The second usable material, I apologize for terminology, but the second usable material that we need to make coolant is water. So go down to the schematics, select water, and install. And there again, you see it says it's not routed. So we have to route it. Click create route. I'm going to click the storage unit again and create route and then submit. So it kind of doesn't matter where you send your materials. I can tell you the command center doesn't have a huge storage, so you would want to route most of your stuff between the launch pad and the storage unit, I think. Okay. So, and if I click this one, here's a second usable product or refined material that we need for coolant, which is water. And if we come down here for input, we see that we have for the water we have to harvest aqueous liquids. Okay. Now, when you're actually doing this for real, like you might want to do what I do. I actually harvest one of them at a time. So, for example, these would both be set for ionic solutions. Okay, because when you harvest these, you're going to get like tens of thousands of raw material units here, and so you need to process them fairly quickly. So I'll have both of them basically churning out the same thing, and then routing them here to the same place. Okay, and then once I have a little stockpile here, then I'll switch them and I'll do the other one. Okay, so matter of fact, I'm gonna look for ionic first. So I'm gonna change this to electrolytes. I just wanted to show you the aqueous to make water mainly. So it's not routed. Click that and then click create route. And then click where I want it routed, create route, and submit. Okay, so both of these now, the basics, they're both producing electrolytes. So now I have to find the ionic solutions. The way you do that is you go to this button here, scan, Click it. Go down here, it says Ionic Solutions. Click that. And you get this map, which shows you the hotspots for that material. And you can change your resolution by the slider up here. So if it looks like this when you first do it, and it doesn't look like there's anything, just slide that slider to the left, okay? And you'll see it better. So, wasn't exactly the best spot I picked, but you can actually scan the planet before you place all your structures, so you get a better start off. But like I said before, all of these hotspots, they all move over time, so it doesn't really matter. It'll all be moving away from you or towards you at some point. So I need to harvest this, so I need to go back to the build menu, and I'm gonna build an extractor control unit. Click that here, and you see that darkened circle, that's your radius. So just kind of put it wherever it makes sense to you. For demonstration, that's fine. So that's our extractor. So we click that. We have to link it, of course, right? Got to have the pipeline. I got that stuck behind there. Click the link. Create new link. And I'm going to attach it to the launch pad. It doesn't really matter. Except for visually, it helps sometimes. Okay. So now we have that. Now we click that, the extractor, and we have to come over here to survey for deposits. And we get this new window pop up. Our scan went away, but we'll get it back as soon as we click the product, which is Ionic Solutions. That is the raw material that we're looking for, which we need to build the electrolytes. So we click that, then you get that scan res back. Now these are individual extractor heads that you have to turn on. So go down the list. It would be nice, by the way, if CCP put something on there, you could just one button and turn them all on. And then you could selectively turn them off if you didn't want them. Okay, so you see the individual extractor heads here. You can see the output per hour is almost 17,000, as they are right there. But you see the cycle time is 15 minutes. Okay, so that's the thing. The shorter the program length, the shorter the cycle time, the more units you get. But most people don't want to sit here and babysit their PI and look at the screen all the time. My personal preference, if I click all the way over here, and you'll see the cycle time is right here. So it takes 2 hours for one cycle, okay? And you see what the per hour is changed. But I typically do 1 hour cycle times. So I'm going to click back until there it is right there, okay? So now I'm down to 1 hour cycle time. And this works out because this runs. One of the beautiful things about this PI is it's passive ISK. It runs kind of on a clock, just like your skills, just like your skill sets do, your training. So it's running whether you're logged on or not. And so you could have it running all night while you sleep, and then you come back and boom, you have some materials. So basically, you click and drag these extractor heads into the hotspot, and then release. Now remember, I think the key part of doing it my way is that we are circumventing the POCOs altogether. Okay, and I'm going to show you one of my other PIs from a different system to kind of illustrate what I mean. And so I just put this one over here, I guess. So with these individual, you see the individual extractor heads, you see the radius on them, those can't touch. Okay, so if I have this one here, for example, if it's touching another one, you see it turns red right here. So you won't get nothing out of it. All right, so they can't touch, but you want to kind of cluster them as close as you can. So now that I have my extractor heads all set, I can click install program. And once again, always hit submit and click it. I have my game volume muted, but you'll get an audio cue that it's been submitted. Okay, so now that we have our program going, we have to route it. So you click your extractor and you go over to products right here, click it. And there you see we are harvesting ionic solutions which are not routed. We have to fix that. Bring this up here a little bit. So I'm going to click that and hit create route. And then I'm going to click for raw materials, my personal preference. I like to store my raw materials in the launchpad. Now click create route and submit. Okay, so we're almost done. Bear with me. Well, almost is a stretch, but so now we're routing our raw materials here. Now we have to tell the launchpad what we want to do with the raw materials. Everything, that's the thing with PI, it's a pain in the butt to set it up the first time. It really is. But once you get it set up, it's not too bad. So everything has to be routed, okay? So if we go to the launchpad, we see our ionic incoming right here. And we need to send those to the basic facilities to refine. Okay, so I'm going to click incoming, create route, and click one of the basics, and click create route, submit, and then you can do it again. You could actually do both, one after another, but I don't like to do that because I forget to hit submit or something, or I get sidetracked. No, that's not it. Okay, no, that's not, that's outgoing. I need incoming. I want to route the incoming, so there we go, and create route. Oh crap, which one did I do? Did I do the first one or the second one? I don't know. So create route and submit. Okay, so if you click these, if you go to routes, you'll see it right here. Ionic solutions incoming, right? Click this one. Hopefully you'll see the same thing. Yep, there it is. Ionic solutions incoming, okay? And then this is the output right here, the electrolytes. And I don't know, did we route? Yeah, we did. We routed the electrolytes. Okay. And it'll tell you we routed them to the storage facility. Okay. All right, so we have our raw material being harvested, routed to the launch pad, which is then distributed between the two basic facilities. Now, those take their refined product and they dump them off here in the storage, and we're going to create routes for that. There they are, electrolytes incoming. Click that, create route, and we have to send these now. Oh, I forgot a step. Hold on. We have to tell the advanced what we're making. Go to schematics. Do you remember what I said we were going to make? Starts with a C. That's right, coolant. Good job. So we're making coolant. We're going to install. Now this is the final product, okay? And so on this first one, I'm going to, oops, what did I do? I'm going to create route. So I'm going to click the launch pad on the first one. Submit. Always have to hit submit. And you can see here too, you see this orange ring is divided in two. Those are the two inputs. Okay. Go to the second advanced, scroll down to coolant, install. And on this one, I'm going to route this coolant down to the storage facility. And there is a reason why I'm doing that. Okay. Click submit. Okay, so now the advanced facilities know what they're supposed to be producing. I can go ahead and route the refined materials. Now each one cycle for coolant takes up 40 of each of the inputs. So, but I'm just going to do 20 at each. Oh, there, it says 40. Okay. Submit. And then I got to do it for the other one. Let's see, electrolytes incoming. Create route. And create route. And submit always. So, yep, now all of our refined materials is routed here and here to the advanced facilities. By the way, you know, if you click this, we don't have, nothing's been harvested yet because we have 1 hour cycle time, right? So we don't have anything yet to be actually sent or processed. But if we did, if you clicked the storage button, you would see it here. You would see the ionic solutions here, and you'd see how much it was. So you could, you know, sometimes I forget what I'm doing, and I forget to route it or something, so I'll log on and I'll check it, and it'll be like 80,000 units or something. So you get, if you click the individual products, you can route them to wherever you want, also doing it that way, okay, through here. So the reason why I had that routed, this final product was routed to the launch pad, and this one was routed to the storage unit, is because, and this is the mechanic of kind of doing it my way, I guess you could say. I have it set up so we can circumvent the POCOs altogether. And how we do that is we have a command center here that can do planetary launches. The planetary launches are very limited to how much you can launch at one time, and there's also a slight cooldown period. But basically, and I'll show you, I'll do a demonstration with my other planets, but basically using these two as a storage unit, we're able to take, I'll transfer, for example, the final product, I'll transfer it from the storage to command center, launch it, scoop it, then I'll go here to the launch pad, transfer it to the command center, launch it, scoop it, and, well, first time I'll actually launch the command center, what's over there, because I can transfer it, right? So I'll transfer it over to that first, and then I'll launch that and scoop that. So after some time, you'll have some product in all three of these, and so you can launch them almost one after another, boom, boom, boom. Okay, and so you get 3 launches in quick succession, and then you can scoop it. So that's how you do it. You use the command center. If I click the command center, actually I'll show you real quick. Right here is the button. Okay, there's the launch button. So you're going to transfer, and I will show you, but you're going to transfer your final product here to launch it into space. So that's the method that we use. It's a fraction of what you could do with a POCO. So, and you know, to be fair, you might have to look at the POCOs. It might be worth it. Maybe the corporation's only charging 10 or 15% to offload, so it might be worth it to actually use the POCO. Okay, to be fair, and there is still a fee if you use the command center to do it. But if the POCO is charging unreasonable rates for export, then you can do it this way. It just takes you. The thing is, the difference is you can only launch very small amount at one time. There's a cooldown, um, so the volume um, that you can launch is very small. Okay, so it just takes a little bit longer to do it, but you can still do it. The cooldown when you transfer from the launch pad to here, or from the storage unit to the command center, the cooldowns for those I think are like 22 minutes. So that's what I mean. You can still do your launches and scoop your final product. It'll just take a little bit longer. Okay, so that's basically the mechanic. That's it. What I'm going to do now, real quick, is I'm going to go to a different system, and this is where the skills come in handy. I'm in Okinawas, but I can actually manage my PI in Hegigan from here. So view planet, and you'll see now these have been up and running for quite a while. I may have actually, the programs might have run out, so they may not actually be harvesting anything. But I can kind of show you the scoop and the launch and scoop that I was saying before. I don't think I have anything in that one. Nope. Let's see if we can pick a different one. Let's try this one. I actually looted or scooped my product fairly recently. Yeah, so okay. Well, bear with me. I only have one other planet. The number of planet that's tied to your skills too. How many planets you can run? I have 4. I had 3, but I have 4 now because of I set one up for this demonstration. Okay, yeah. So I already scooped them before, so there's nothing. But ordinarily, at the end of my day, when I'm done scooping, I'll transfer some up to the command center initially, so that there's some there to launch as soon as I log on. Okay, so normally I get 3 launches, but here I'm only going to get 2. But that's okay. You get the point. So I have product. You can see right here. I have coolant, quite a bit. I got 873 units of coolant. Right click. Well, will it do that for me? No. Okay. I'll just show you later on. But yeah, I got 873, and this has been running for a while. So I'm gonna transfer to the command center. I got to open the cargo button up. Click on the coolant, and then you want to go down to expedited transfer right here. Click that. Then you want to click your command center, and then just drag and drop your coolant over here, and it'll only transfer as much as you can put at one time, which is 333 coolant. And then hit execute transfer, and boom. And you see it's got a little blue ringer on it now because it's full, and that's what you storage. See, this one's got half of a blue ring, so it's about half full. But like I said, the storage unit on the command center is pretty small. So now we have that transferred over, so now we can actually launch that product into space. So I'll go to Launchpad, and there's the 333 units of coolant. I'm going to drag and drop that down, or click Add. There it goes. And there, you still get charged the launch fee, but it's nothing near to what, some of the POCOs are charging you. So it's definitely still worth it. And let's look at coolant. I click the information button there real quick. Let's look at the market price. So coolant, and I have 873 sitting there in that one launch pad or storage unit. So 873 times market value. Let's say go low right on the buyer's side. If we just want to sell it immediately, that's the price we would get for it as the buyer bid. So we'll say 72.50. I'm using a calculator right now. So that's just what I have there in the storage unit. That's 6.3 million ISK sitting there, of 6.3 million ISK of product that I have sitting there. Okay, right here. So I'm going to launch that. Go for launch. And now you see over here, my journal is blinking because that's where you're going to go. Click that. And up here in the Planetary Launches tab, you see your launch right here. If I go to Hagakin and I right click this, I'll be able to warp to it. And you'll find a cargo container there with a can. And that's how you scoop your coolant. Excuse me. So I already transferred from this. If I click that again, you can see I have a cooldown clock right here. So I got about 21 minutes cooldown before I can transfer or do that expedited transfer again. Okay, so I have to wait 20 minutes to do it again. But I also have, and this is why I split up my from the advanced, I split between these two, is because I also have products sitting here in the launch pad, and I have 666 units of that. So I'll click that, expedite transfer, click my customs, or sorry, not my customs, my command. Okay, drag and drop. It'll limit me to the storage capacity, 333, execute transfer, and boom, you see it's full again. If I click that again, and look over, there is a cooldown clock, but it's only like a minute or 2 minutes or something. I can actually launch right now. See, it says next launch time now. And I'll go ahead and do that. So click launch. There's my coolant. Click that and click add. There's your fee. And then click go for launch. Click it. There it goes. And then if we check our journal under planetary launches, you'll see the second one there. So just real quick, let me go to my calculator. So we had 333 units at 72.50 each. Okay, so each planetary launch that we do of our final product, coolant, okay, it's worth 2.4 million ISK. Each launch that we do is worth 2.4. I forget what the fee was exactly. It was like 375. So let me subtract 375,000 from that as our cost for the launch. So basically, we yield per launch, we yield 2 million ISK per launch. Like I said before, ordinarily I would have the command center would also be full. That's just an oversight on my part. But ordinarily that would be full from as soon as I logged in and came to check it. That would be full, that would be full, and that would be full. So that would actually be 3 successive launches. So figure the yield of a profit of 2 million each. So that's 6 million ISK from one planet, and I've got 4. Right? I had 3, but now I have 4. And they don't all yield the same amount, okay? And you do have, once you have a stockpile of raw materials and you have a stockpile of the refined materials, then you have to switch, from time to time you have to switch out, stockpile the other thing, and because you need 2 ingredients. But you can see, if you're a new player or a returning player, or you just don't have any damn money, that's not bad. The initial setup takes some time, as you can see. This video is probably about an hour long, but the maintenance of it and the upkeep of it is very, very doable. Okay, Very easy to maintain once you have it set up. And like I said, you got two, and that's profit too. That's yield. So you got 2, 4, 6 million ISK per launch per planet. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys and gals. I just wanted to show you post nerf bat on the PI, on the old way of doing PI. I just want to show you kind of how I started doing it again, and that you can still make some ISK with it. It's not anything what it used to be, uh, but it's not nothing, and not nothing is something. So I think the video's been long enough. I thank you for your viewership. Please feel free to subscribe and leave comments or questions in the comments section. And if you are so inclined, look me up in game, Ragnar D the Ninth. And I will be making other tutorials in the near future. Thank you for your time and your attention. Please subscribe and fly safe. This is T signing off.